I came to the amazing University of Melbourne, but I do not recommend it to anyone. Let's not get into that.
I disagree, but alrighty.
Damn. I actually had a friend who did undergrad in architecture and she dropped halfway through her degree because she didn't like the education.
From Unimel?
Unimel, yes. My experience was very 50-50 because I came as domestic, but I was categorized as international. Like in Australia, you can't pick majors.
Studying in Adelaide was way different and Melbourne made you feel more comfortable.
I think so, yeah. And we were expecting Adelaide to not be like a, like a old town. We were expecting city. It was just like Adelaide.
Biggest highlight is that Kush, he was in a group in architecture with Kanye West's current wife, Bianca.
Yeah.
And he was a tutor. Which dating app is the best?
I don't know. LinkedIn?
Yes!
It is the freaking best.
Connect.
I spoke to someone as well that if you don't bitch about the place that you work or the place that you stay, you don't truly love it. Welcome to episode 1 of Australia Unfiltered. Join us as we explore the highs, lows, and everything in between of living in Australia. Whether you're studying, finding love, dealing with racism, navigating immigration, looking for a job, buying a house, starting a business, or tackling healthcare or disabilities, we've got you covered. Every episode is a candid conversation, and we bring you insights from people living in Australia. So stay tuned, stay informed, and get ready for our very first episode of Australia Unfiltered. This series is powered by Anchor Cookie Co, and we'd like to express our thanks to Aussies Group for this amazing podcast space. Let's dive into our first episode. So our first episode is about education in Australia, and with us today we have Nikita and Kush. Nikita did her undergrad in networking and cybersecurity.
Yes.
Did I get it right this time?
Yep.
Yes, I did. And Kush did his master's in architecture, and for me, I did my master's in management studies marketing from Unimel. Okay, Nikita, so let's get into it. Nikita, how was the experience? When did you do it? Tell us more. And where did you do it from?
Yes, we'll tell you. So I came here in 2021, mid-COVID / post-COVID.
Yeah.
University of South Australia.
Yep.
I did 1 semester in business and then I switched.
How did you get from business to cybersecurity?
I wanted to do a double degree, but I also wanted to get it done quicker. So I was like, you know what?
So cybersecurity is quicker than business?
No, but like a single degree is quicker than a double degree. So I was like, focus on one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And so that's why. And then I moved to Melbourne midway through because of opportunities, business hub, tech hub, all of that.
Okay, nice.
Awesome.
And then which uni were you in Melbourne?
Oh, MIT, Melbourne Institute of Technology.
Not Massachusetts.
Yeah, I have to highlight Melbourne. And it's not even our MIT, it's just MIT.
MIT?
MIT?
Gotcha.
Nice. What about you, Kush?
I did my Masters of Architecture from University of Melbourne. I had a great experience. Yeah.
When did you come?
I came in 2019.
Oh, same. Yeah, actually, yeah. Well, I'm asking him, but yeah, obviously for you guys, but both of us came in 2019. We didn't know each other. And I came to the amazing University of Melbourne, but I would say it was a great experience, great things that I learned, and I'm glad where I'm at because obviously I came to University of Melbourne, but I do not recommend it to anyone. Let's not get into that.
I disagree, but alrighty.
Damn.
I don't, okay, fine. I do not recommend it for the management course probably. University of Melbourne's amazing if you do like a specialized course like yours, which is architecture, but at management we have thousands of students and amazing faculty and amazing everything, but no one cares.
Right. I actually had a friend who did undergrad in architecture and she dropped halfway through her degree because she didn't like the education.
From Unimel?
Unimel, yes.
Oh.
She dropped it.
I can say why, but my experience was great. So anyway.
But you were like, so I was a COVID student, you weren't a COVID student, right?
I was post, yeah.
Was it do you feel there was a difference like after post-COVID? Before everything, like online wasn't a thing, at least for us. And there was never those concept of online exams. Was it different for you? Did you feel a difference or because you were new to it, it didn't matter?
I came in when I started, there was an option at UniSA. So you could do either face-to-face or online because the teachers teach you, but on camera. So I had an option. But then after all the sanctions were lifted and in South Australia, before the rest of, I think, Australia, we were the first ones to lift up sanctions, and we didn't even have a lockdown for a long time.
What was your lockdown? 1 week?
1 week, yeah. After the time from when I came, there was only 1 week of it. And so once they realized that there's really no reason to hold us back, we didn't have area restrictions, they were like, if you're in person, you have to come.
Yeah.
If you're like in that location in Adelaide, then you have to come. If you're studying online, then that's fine.
But that's what I feel. Sorry, go for it. But I was just to add on to this that I feel like as a student, it is so important to be on campus.
It is.
And the whole experience of being on campus, or otherwise you just turn on your PC, just in your jammies, in your bed, and then you're like, oh, I attended class. But it's about meeting people, and that's when you learn. And to be honest, real life is actually meeting people. What about you? What were you going to say?
Same thing. Like, I believe in going to the classes, actually being in the university. So my first year, I really enjoyed because of the same thing.
Yeah.
Second year, not that much, because I was diagnosed with liver abscess, plus that time COVID also happened. Too many things at once. And yeah, it was not a great experience because I really wanted to do my architecture within the university.
Yeah.
Explore all the things, all the machinery, talk to the university teachers and everything. But yeah, that didn't happen, sadly. Didn't make many connections because of that.
Yeah, it is sad for a course like yours. I feel like personally, maybe I'm wrong, maybe you can correct me, that architecture is something that I remember because I know you since 2019, that you all used to go to the studios and build stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, students were so excited. I know it was so expensive in your pockets, but
It was.
You guys were so excited. In cybersecurity, did you all have like labs and things like that?
We had labs, but everything could be done from home. You need your own computer, and that's it. At least in first year. I just feel bad for those people who were robbed of that first year experience.
Yeah.
We want, so, the worst part as students that happened to us is, so for me, when I came here, I was like, oh my God, I need to do everything. I'm going to like do it full on. And because it was the first year and I came as an immigrant here, the money difference did make a difference, like, to be honest. So I'm like, first year, I'm going to study. I'm going to save money. And in my last semester is when I'm going to like travel, go out and explore things.
Yeah.
So I'm not even kidding. So I did my first semester, then I did a winter term, then I did my second semester, then I did a summer term, and then COVID happened by third term. In my last semester, I had one subject because I had done everything.
Same.
It's like I don't know what to say, probably live in the moment or do whatever, but I don't know what's the right thing.
Same here. I was looking forward for the last semester because I had completed all my courses beforehand, so that in the last semester I can travel, I can if not travel, I can go and do some internships, whatever. But that didn't happen because of the COVID lockdown, especially in Melbourne, that you cannot go anywhere, 5-kilometer radius and whatnot.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and a curfew time. Melbourne was literally my mom telling me
strict parents giving us curfew.
Yeah.
You didn't experience all of but you came to Melbourne way later.
But by the time I came to Melbourne, it was a free city.
Yeah, it was a free city, but I feel a lot of things have changed. Anyway, let's get back to the topic of education. How was your experience? Did you have any cultural shocks when you all came here to study? I know you studied back in the US and you were from India. You did an undergrad of 5 years. You had your education back in the US. Was there any difference that you found when you came here?
Yeah, obviously there are so many. I think the biggest one is, like in Australia, you can't pick majors. Like in the US, it's so common. Architecture, and it'll be like psychology. It'll be so random. It'll be like political science and mathematics. It will be so random, and you can study whatever, and it's just included for the 4 years. Here, it's 3 years. There's no gen ed here.
What is gen ed? Sorry.
General education. It's like economics. Like everyone has to take it regardless of your degree.
Oh, okay.
So it's things that so you get to explore your major that you want to do before you fully get into it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it decreases the rate of degrees like switching or dropping out.
So basically it's like a test trial run.
It is, yeah. 1 extra year, you get to mess around. And then actually my experience was very 50-50 because I came as domestic,
Yeah.
but I was categorized as international because I didn't know anyone here. I was living in CBD. I had a friend was like international. Even the Americans were international, right?
Yeah, for sure, obviously.
Yeah. So student livings and your communities that you're in, international student community, even though I was like a local.
Yeah.
Until I came to Melbourne, and then I fitted more with the stereotype of being a local here.
Yeah.
Because, I was coming from suburbs. I was doing this. I knew people. I could fit in with the quote unquote Aussies who grew up here.
Yeah.
So it was a very different.
So you're saying studying in Adelaide was way different and Melbourne made you feel more comfortable?
I think so, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What is one... I know, coming before I get talking. This is really interesting. I'm really keen to know. But before that, was there something that made you feel like it's not homely, or what was that kept you apart? As a student, what did you feel?
To be honest, at least back when I was in Adelaide, and it's changed so much in just 2-3 years, but back when I was there, you didn't have a lot of young talent working there. Unless in architecture, construction, if there's a huge need for it, people are going to be there. But when I went there, it was either you're a student and you're most likely international.
Yeah.
Because most South Australians go somewhere else. They go to Sydney, they go to Melbourne.
Yeah, true. 100%.
Yeah. And so there's very less of that Aussie population. There's so many more international students. Or old people who are settled there.
Yeah.
So there's only 2 categories you can fit into. Either you go with old people 30, 40 plus who have kids and are...
Listen, 30, 40 is not old.
Yeah. Middle-aged. Yeah.
Sara, you are...
Shut up. Let's not get into my age. Yeah, let's talk about experience.
So either you're middle-aged or you're a student, and most likely masters, Yeah. So it was definitely that, I guess you fit in that area. That was the main divide, But in Melbourne, people from any degree, yes, you can find people here in fashion, music, sound production.
Yep.
It wasn't the case in Adelaide. People did engineering, architecture. I can name 20 architecture and the civil engineering and construction management people. It was so popular.
Oh, nice. What about you, Kush?
For me, actually, because of my course also, and because I came from Mumbai to Melbourne, there was not much difference. I was an outsider in Mumbai. I was an outsider here. And I got the same responses, similar people around me in terms of either very rich kids and people who are outstation people or immigrants working to showcase their skills. And telling people, no, we can also be good. Yeah. We are not over here just to drive Uber. So,
yeah.
You know what? I know you're not mentioning this. I don't know if I should mention this, but obviously I know Kush since uni, as I mentioned it before. I think one of the biggest highlight, he's not mentioned it, but I really do want to mention it. Biggest highlight is that Kush was he was in a group in architecture with Kanye West's current wife, Bianca.
Yeah.
And he was the tutor. And he was the tutor as well. So guys, if you're planning to study in Australia, you never know who you might be studying with.
Yeah. She was with me in architectural technology course. We were in the same group. My housemate Jamin, myself, and Bianca. And she's a pretty cool.
She's pretty nice. Yeah, she's amazing.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
It was an experience.
Look at the smile on your face when you think about it.
It was a good experience.
Yeah. We can totally see that and feel it. It was amazing. Your face is like this and you're like, oh, it was a lovely experience.
It was.
Yeah. Do you guys know who Jacob Sartorius is?
The
sweatshirt guy.
I thought you were talking about Jacob Ellor. What is the tall guy? Sorry, I don't know who that is.
Jacob Sartorius. He was a TikTok sensation, and he came up with the song "Sweatshirt" that was really cringy. But he's now in full-fledged, one of the first TikTok influencers, and I went to high school with him.
Oh,
yeah. So it was very first-hand where I got to see student fame.
So was he getting famous when you went to school?
Yeah, no, he would only show up 2 days out of the year. And all the teachers were like, do you need help? You're going to LA for filming your music video. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sara also had someone in her school days. Sohana Khan?
Oh my God. No. I didn't have Sohana. I had Aryan Khan. Okay, guys, let's get back to it. We are so so distracting, people. But no, I did have Aryan Khan, and I had like Sara Tendulkar, but whatever, guys.
These sober
Mumbai people, yeah.
What is this accent?
What is it?
Guys, is this a podcast on roasting me?
It's unfiltered, right?
Let's try putting some filters towards me, but it's unfiltered Australia.
Sorry.
Okay, next,
No. Anyway, thanks. How did you know which universities to go to when you came here? Did you like research? What was your plan? I'll go first. I love talking, so I just want to say it's in my head, right now. So I actually did not want to come to Australia, but then my dad was like, go to Australia. So I was like, fine. And then I went to a migration agency, and I think they had a tie-up. I would have named them, but no, not today. But I went to them, and I think they have tie-ups with universities out there. I just told them that I want to do marketing. They're like, yeah, this university, it's the best in the world, go for it. And they made it sound it's so difficult to get in, but it wasn't difficult to get in. It was literally just show your bank account balance. If you have the money, you get in.
Damn.
And I was sponsored by my dad, so I never had the issue. They just showed the bank balance about it.
Yeah.
And I got in. Literally, I just got in. What about you?
I don't know. Side note, I've heard UniMel is ranked 13 in the world or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, it's higher than NYU.
I don't understand how.
It depends on how many people are actually getting out of the university and how they are
Finding
ranking
employment,
themselves, finding employment and everything. And also the courses that the university is providing. So it might be overall university is 13, but if you select courses, they might not be as good. But together they become very good as a university. So
that was such a scam for me. They're like, just go for the There's this Geo8 thing in Australia. I don't know if master's.
Top 8, something like
that. Top 8 universities in Australia. And like UniSafe.
There are only 8 major universities.
Those top 8.
Those top 8. And then obviously out of them, Melbourne and Sydney were the top where I wanted to go. And I was like, University of Melbourne. Even before I got into UniSyd and UniMel. But an aunt of mine who lives there, she's like, you should go to Melbourne, then Sydney, because Melbourne's more diverse. And I believe that too. Even you mentioned that from Adelaide, when you shifted to Melbourne, you felt the inclusion.
Yes, it was a lot more. Actually, coming back to your question, mine was really random. I gave a practice SAT and I got a full score on it. I never actually gave my full SAT because I never needed to. My practice SAT, for some reason, was really good. I got a full ride to an Italian scholarship.
Okay.
Italian university. And
Italian.
I don't know. I don't remember the name, obviously. It's been years. But when I was 17, I got the offer, or 16 when I got the offer, and they were like, full ride done, come to Italy and study. And
what are you doing in Australia?
And then I got one from Barcelona, which was a partial or 1-sem scholarship. And my mom was like, no, you're going to party in Barcelona. Yeah. And then she was a bit afraid because it's a foreign country, foreign language, even though I speak Spanish fluently.
Oh, you do?
It's a US requirement. So French or Spanish or German is most popular. So
say something for us in Spanish. Oh my God, I'm acting like a mom.
Yeah, I know. Hola, yo hablo español perfectamente.
Sí. Bravo. Gracias.
Yeah, but
Kushagra, Jhurani.
Buongiorno. Okay, anyway.
Yeah. But it was Italy, and then I wanted to do Shanghai School of Business. Because, I see I was aiming for international business at that time.
Okay.
So I was Shanghai School of Business, and I spoke to a professor there. And then my parents were like, we have an Australian PR. Tuition is, you have to pay up front, but it's Australian local tuition. Okay. So why don't you do that? And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. It's still across the world. I'm still living alone, away from my parents, but it's an English-speaking country. So then I was like, yep, I don't have to give IELTS, SAT, anything. I just had to give them American university results and they would just accept it. So I was like...
But why did you choose to go to South Australia and not come first to Melbourne or any of the big cities?
Yeah, my PR was conditional. So because South Australian government issued the PR, it wasn't a legal requirement, but to be safe, they were like, oh, why don't you just go there? And UniSA has a good acceptance rate and they have good rankings too. So they were like, why don't you try it? And we were expecting Adelaide to not be like a, like a old town. We were expecting city.
Yeah.
And it wasn't city. It wasn't Melbourne city. It was just like Adelaide.
But Melbourne city is also not a city, but anyway.
Yeah, well.
There's a huge difference. Like, as in, even Melbourne, you might say that's not city, but if you compare to Adelaide, to Melbourne,
makes
someone
sense.
who's experienced
You compare Perth to Adelaide, like, come on.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah. What about you? Like, how did you choose your university? And
So actually, I started my own thing back home. And then I was looking through universities. I thought like I should be doing masters. I really like SIAC in the US, and the other university was University of Melbourne School of Design, because of all the robotics and the workshops that they had. For me, money was one of the major things. So SIAC was double than what I would be paying over here. So yeah, then I just applied for University of Melbourne through the same agents as you, and they said no, you cannot get in and everything. So I did everything by myself, and then I got it done, and it happened, and I'm over here now.
so when you said that it was, did you come on a loan or did you pay?
I did come on a loan, and that was like pretty like, it was not very easy to get a loan with my degree, because what people do back in India, they check, okay, architecture, very good course, but will he be employed over here, and how much money he would be getting? Very bad. So they do not give me loan as much as I want.
Isn't it like a hard thing for you guys? It's like a huge thing, right? Getting so much educational loans or whatever.
So I didn't come on a loan. I was sponsored by my dad.
Yep.
I didn't want to come. He's like, go study. And I'm like, okay.
But you had to pay upfront still as an international student.
Yes, we have to pay upfront.
Yeah.
And as an international student, it's so expensive. Like, we were discussing this morning. Each one of us in our degree, we've spent at least 100,000 per person in the span of 2 years, which is education, rent, everything. Only if we had that money and we invested in a business, I think God knows where would have been. Or we would have invested in buying a property. 200,000 is it's a lot
It's a lot of money. Yes.
And what about what about, I guess, if you just can claim it as a tax deductible, or is that also not?
It's not a tax deductible, not at all. Like, what taxes the government, what deductions is it going to happen?
So
makes sense. That's not the case, but it is. I was lucky that I got a scholarship, so I got 25% scholarship. Lucky to my grades. I don't know. God bless my smart brains. Is what I want to say, but whatever. But I got a scholarship of 25%. And it's a very random allocation, to be honest, at least at University of Melbourne. They don't tell you why they give you if they will give you a scholarship, why they'll give you a scholarship. There's no application form, at least from Melbourne Business School. And it was just randomly, I got a scholarship. And some other people also randomly, but it's such a random process, which I don't understand. Like, I think people who need it, I'm not saying I didn't need it and I don't want it, but there should be a proper process.
Yeah, I think so.
It's time-based also, like when you have applied for it, and if they have those many funds till that time. So for me, I applied like very quickly, I got in very quickly, and I also got the international student scholarship. But some people who applied after me when we came over here, they didn't get that scholarship, but they were also eligible for that. It depends when you're applying and coming in.
Probably. But I also want to say, like, as we came through like agents and things like that, it was a free consultancy that we got and everything. But what I feel now, and I always tell when people reach out to me, is you need to do your own research. These agents, they have tie-ups. So they just want to promote the university that they are tied up with. They don't tell you courses. Like, I just knew I wanted to do marketing. But I was naive. I would say it's my fault. I was naive, where I didn't explore. I thought, someone's going to guide me right. Why would someone guide me wrong? But they said, this is the best course and this is the best university. Go there. I was like, fine.
It's a business. They are doing what they have to.
I know it's a business, but that's what I want future students who are coming here. Do your own research. And I would highly recommend that. I would recommend, it's on you, but I would recommend try go to smaller universities like Victoria University or other universities based on your course.
Yeah.
I would say based on your course, at least for management or marketing, because I felt spending that 100,000 over a span of 2 years was not worth it. Like, I didn't learn anything personally. Like, educational wise or academic, I didn't learn anything. Even the help that we had out there I felt it was limited for me, at least, because it was such a big transition of how the education was. How was it in US? Like, we didn't have this plagiarism thing. We didn't have the citing thing. I had to learn all of it, and they had online courses for it. They never had anything else for that. And it was like, it's not, and majority of MBS, Melbourne Business School, is immigrants. Majority.
Damn. I want to say that, first of all, the US is kind of similar. The plagiarism thing is the same, but it's not as strict. And the second thing is, like, in Australia, I guess if you come from another country, it's hard, but like the citation, such strictness on it and this and that. In the US, you do that since middle school. Citations, how to shortcut it, how to put it here, there. I'm very quick with it, but the format is so off in every school. I will say that's different. So I know the way to navigate it, but that's the thing. Like, if you know how to study, you can study any subject. So same logic, you know? So there's APA 7, there's APA, there's Chicago, there's IEEE, so many. So you navigate it. But I want to highlight that if you're international or local, studying at a smaller university is, I think, my best bet, because I did UniSA and I did MIT. And UniSA, for its name and stuff, is great. And international people go there because of name, brand, the safety in there, whatever, like facilities and stuff. But coming from a small university too, you go into the job field. I've done Deloitte, I've done KPMG, I've done Accenture, and now I'm at Toyota. And people come from every university in Australia because they look at skills, which is a great thing about the country. They look at the skills, and there's people from the most local unis you would have never heard of. They provide the same education. The way they teach in Australia is the same.
Exactly. True. No one cares which, like, okay, someone asked me which uni from the uni, like, oh wow, so much money you spent. That's the only thing they were concerned about. Like, my education is crazy. What about you?
For me, it is a bit different, because I came over here to the university because of certain working spaces that they had, and this was the only university that was providing that at that point of time. Currently, there are other unis that are like marketing that as well. If I knew about those, I would have considered them as well. But over here, again, it comes to how specialized your course is. Mine was architecture, and I was able to choose subjects. So I did study all the subjects that I could take before coming to the university, before choosing the university. So please do that. And see if those subjects are being taught by other unis or like by other universities also. If there aren't, then obviously you have only one choice to go to, and also see what teachers are teaching, and see if those teachers are teaching in the smaller universities as well, because there are many times one professor is actually
as a casual,
he is a casual lecturer in this university, but a dean in another. So
true.
You have to check that.
And I want to highlight that name also applies in the US. Like, if somebody sees on your resume Yale Law, like law schools, and they say Yale Law, they'll be like, oh, like you get so much weight to it because it's Yale Law. But here, like, okay, like Canberra University and like ANU's law, they'll be like, great. But everywhere in Australia has law.
I just feel it depends on your goals, to be very honest. Like, if your goals are to stay back in this country, no one cares, because I meant to say they care about your skills. People hire you for your personality.
True.
And skills can be taught. Be it you study from a smaller university or bigger university, but skill, like personality, is what Australia looks for, and that is really amazing. Sometimes I know so many people that I've met, and they've been in positions where they don't have the skills for it, but they were a perfect personality match, is what I'd say. So that is a great bit. So depends. If your goal is to stay in this country, then you should explore other universities. But if your goal is to go back, then maybe a big university makes sense. These things might add value to it. So I think it's a very goal-oriented thing.
Yes. Also, if you have the money, and if you're asking your parents the money, back in India especially, see if you can actually do your business out of that money and do that.
Not just India, I feel everywhere.
Anywhere
in the world.
Anywhere in the world. First check like how the economy is going, and if you can start a small business, because 10% of the university fee, you will use it in your business. I think you will grow much better in terms of what you learn and how much you earn in the time that you spend in the university. But if your goal is to study, that was my goal as well. I really wanted to study architecture more. I came to this country and things worked out for me. So if you're coming with a goal, slowly and steadily, you'll get your PR as well. But yeah.
I had a friend similar in Adelaide, and he was really smart. So he did entrepreneurship as a master's because he did a law degree. He was a lawyer, worked as a bit in corporate law, and he came over and he had a good amount saved up to spend. He started a business and he was so smart with it. And that company had brands like Levi's, Woolies, Kohl's, Nike, Puma. And it's like, you know, they donate to charities too. Yeah. So they clearly tell you what percentage. It was so good, the concept.
Yeah.
And he hired all interns. Like he hired everyone looking for experience on resume to build a company, like UI designer or like marketing intern. For those who would work for free because it's a registered company for the government.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was so smart of him to do that. I was like, and getting so many partners or some big names, you know, like Shein or like these big names. And then now he went back to India and it's become so huge. He has its own like credit card for his company partner. And so it's like Amex, you know, every time you spend, you get points back.
Yeah.
And so there's like every time you spend, you donate to your favorite cause you're passionate about.
Oh,
people suck it up. They love it. It's such a good thing. So
yeah, true. That's a very great thing. And I think probably because he came to Australia, something reignited. So
I think so.
I'd say this country does open up your mind. As a student, it does open up your mind in so many ways. I would have not been here or started Humans of Australia or had all these experiences or met such people if I wasn't in Australia. So Australia is amazing, but you just need to be careful and you need to do your research. Don't be naive like me where you don't do your research and have your goals settled. Like as you know, Nikita said that, you know, smaller university is great. It is great. It's the best education. Yeah. But also what I feel as an immigrant, we came, we are immigrants, even you're an immigrant, but like we came from a background where we had to give an IELTS exam, which is an English exam, which is, I don't think it's valid for me. I feel it's not justified for me. I'll give you the reason why. I have done all my education, high school, preschool, every possible schooling possible. Then my undergrad in English, passed in English. All my papers and documents are in English. So I feel that should hold value. But yet I had to give an IELTS and you have to mark some bar, you have to reach a particular bar. And I'm like, English is kind of my first language, which felt there should be different parameters. I get it because I come from India. English is not the first language of the country. But when my whole education and my documentation is in English, there needs to be something because it's not cheap. First of all, coming to Australia and then giving IELTS and doing all of that. Do you all think the same way? What are your thoughts about it?
I did my master's in English with Bianca Sensori. So
No, I'm talking about like when you before come, you have to give your IELTS.
I had to give my IELTS, obviously, and I obviously all my education is in English. All the documents similar as you. I think there's a reason why this also happens. I'm coming from that part. Like people do not know that our first language might be English. Like our education is in English, though we provide all the documents.
No, I agree. Sorry to cut you, but I agree to your point. People might not know, but we are submitting. This is all a documentation thing, which is like a legal process happening.
They shouldn't be tested so many times. Once it's still okay.
The worst part is this IELTS expires in 3 years.
Yes.
It expires in 3 years. Did you have to give an IELTS?
Nothing. Literally nothing. And I don't know. Even like with my license. In India, you probably drive on the right side. And in many countries, you do. I came from a full American license, left side. I didn't know automatic. I went to South Australia. I got all those rights.
Oh my God,
Wow.
that
That's
kind of
crazy. Yeah.
I know. Let's not get into it. Literally, I will start ranting, but I get it. We came from a right side. There's a whole different reasoning. Maybe I justify it. Maybe I don't justify it. But yeah, it kind of sucks. And I hate you that your license was converted directly. But except that, let's like social life. Like, how is it making friends? When I went to University of Melbourne, like Melbourne Business School in particular, Melbourne Business School was, I would say 98% immigrants. They're also Asians, 1% people from other parts of the world, 1.5, and then 0.5% of people like Australians. So I would say cultural, like, you know, like when you come to Australia, I came like to get a cultural mix of an experience. But Melbourne Business School was so many people that there was, but there wasn't at all. Like, it was just, you end up like Indians becoming with Indians or like Asians becoming with other Asians. I didn't see so much of a mix, which was really sad. And I feel the classes were huge. So by the time you make a friend in one semester, the next semester, you're not even semester, one subject, the next subject, everything's gone down the drain.
Yeah.
How is it like socially for you guys? Were you with other cultures and things like that?
Again, because of my course, I was supposed to be involved with other people. There were group projects, and that's how I met people. But sadly, due to COVID, many of the people who I considered friends are not in this country anymore. Several of my professors are not in this country anymore. Like, they changed, they're in like other countries. So I lost all my connections, mostly all my connections, the international connections or the mixed culture connection. Sadly, the connection I had in Australia was Bianca Sensorian. Now she is also not over here.
I cannot stop mentioning Bianca's name.
Oh my God.
We get it, okay? We get it.
You're cooler than us. Like,
No. I'm just saying, like, one of the Australian, what do you say? Not count. Acquaintances was Bianca, and she is not here.
We should put a count, you know, on this, or we should have had shots. The number of times he says Bianca,
Okay,
we do a shot.
I won't say her name anymore.
next time it'll be like straight tequila.
Yeah, cool.
No salt, no lime.
Oh my God, you're gonna put that.
So yeah, most of my connections are not in the country anymore, and the connections obviously that you build over here are the ones whom you connect with. Like, you will be celebrating some festivals together, and those festivals would come through the people you know and are in the same community, which is, again, Indians would be with Indians, Chinese would be with Chinese. That's because they are celebrating those things together.
Yeah,
they know
true.
what
It's
it
like
means. It's a cultural thing.
connection.
It's a cultural connection.
True.
And the language also, though we all can speak in English, but then there's something, mother tongue, and like, even in India, Gujaratis would love to spend time with Gujaratis because they can speak in Gujarati.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's that comfort and connect.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It is.
I think a lot of Australians, like to point out, a lot of Australians, half of them go into vocational training.
True.
So, like, if you want to be a chef and all of that, they see the need of not formally doing a master's, degree, which
Masters is a long
master's is a long shot because very less Australians do masters.
Yeah, true.
Very less. And undergrad, I see a lot more Aussies do it for formal education, but I also see like a good 50 to 60% mix of people who just did high school and then just certificate and they just worked in the industry for 4 or 5 years.
I know.
It's insane here.
It's so insane. It feels like I have had so much education, like bachelor's, undergrad, whatever, and then master's. And then I'm at a similar level or even a lower level to someone who's not done even their undergrad, which kind of sucks. I get it. Well, to be honest, I am for it. Experience is better than education because that's when you learn. Sure. I learned the most. I didn't learn shit when I was studying. But anyway, getting back to cultural and social life. Yeah. Nikita, I remember I had a conversation with you earlier and you told me your experience during your undergrad with Australians and other people. How was that? How was the inclusion part of it?
Because, undergrad has more Aussies, you know, like born and raised here. And I will say, initially, because I was new and international students are new, there was more of a connect with them. I connected with Americans, I connected with South Americans because of Spanish, and they had some comfort of, you also speak Spanish. Yeah. And then I had Asian friends like Chinese, Korean, and then obviously a lot of Indians. And I felt I was more accepted in these communities because everyone has that new experience and everyone's new. You're trying to get to know each other. Which part are you from? Where are you from? But then when I got into group projects with Aussies, I always felt, even as an American, like I felt a bit more included than other international students because I knew there was a clear divide of if they don't enunciate as well as I do. Yeah. It's not an understanding problem. It's just an enunciation problem. If they don't do it as well, they'll kind of be like, they'll be the last person to ask them for preference, right? Yeah. When you're picking parts, they'll be like, oh, everybody, what do you want? And then if you're an international student, you feel like, you're a bit secluded first year. You're like, oh, I'll let everyone else go first. It happens to everybody. Yeah.
I felt intimidated too, you know. I don't know why, but even though I'm like such a confident, I've always been a confident person, a confident girl. I'm a loud person. I can voice out everywhere. But for some reason, after coming here, I felt intimidated for some reason. I have no idea why.
It's because they include you a little less. It's not that they won't. They'll definitely ask you for your opinions. It's just that when they see someone like-minded, they just go with it. And I've asked a lot of my Australian friends about this. I was like, why do I feel so excluded when there's really no differences between us? And it's because they have the same friends since preschool. Yeah. Since preschool, since high school, since middle school, secondary school, whatever. Like they've been so close-knit together. They went to vacations, families, the Aussie culture, foodie culture. And the foodie is not even popular outside of Australia. It's such an Aussie thing.
But it is such
it's a very like culture inclusion. So, if you don't connect with them exactly on it, there's a clear separation.
I get it, but as an international person, I get their point and it's totally valid. But as an international person, we have come here to explore, to be, if someone invites me to a footy with them, and even though I don't understand it, I wouldn't mind being a part of it, or going with them, but I didn't feel it. But I'm not saying that Australians aren't nice. I've had amazing experiences with them. I've had the first place that I worked at, and they were the most inclusive people, so inclusive, and they just wanted to carry they didn't care where you're from. They it didn't matter what your name was, what your background was. They just cared that if you add good value to their company, and then they took you along. So there are different kinds of Australians, I'd say, but at a university level, I would say you might end up being with your people more.
So, yeah. It is very my mate. And it's even if you are of color or Asian, but if you're Australian brought up, it's just you're an Aussie,
Yeah, true.
That's just that there. But I know they really appreciate diversity, and I bumped into you at Holy Moly once.
So you guys met?
No. We met, but then I was at Holy Moly with a bunch of my friends from uni, and I saw him with his work people at Holy Moly.
Oh, yes. I was with my current work people at Holy Moly.
Everywhere I've been, it's very... Yeah, Aussies are nice.
Yeah, Aussies are nice, but I'm just talking on university level, but this does happen, a separation.
Yeah.
When you go to work, I think it's a whole different scenario, but when you're studying, it's fine. Also, to be honest, can I tell you, people think that, oh my God, I'm now with Aussies, but it's also fine to be with just your people. You're new to this country as a student. You're first of all exploring, understanding. Understand the culture, how it is, what it is, understanding education, try to find a job, paying your bills as a student, try to study, learn the new aspects or whatever it is.
I also have a question, and I think this might also contribute to the fact. It's because as an international student, don't you have a minimum attendance or grades to meet?
So I didn't as an international student. I had, because of my scholarship, I had a particular amount of percentage to meet.
Okay.
Attendance, no one cares.
Yeah, there was no attendance.
Oh, no one cares.
Okay.
No, there was attendance. Sorry. There was attendance
Not for
me.
Okay, for you. But in my uni, because attendance is required for labs and stuff, you, as an international student, you have to meet a certain amount. So 50% of attendance you have to meet as an international student only. I'm not international. If my attendance is 0 and it's ungraded, like whatever, which is what most Aussies do. They don't show up.
Yeah.
You know, they don't show up. They'll same lectures. You can record and watch it sometime later.
Yeah.
But a lot of international students are the ones showing up in person, meeting up in groups, and Aussies are like just doing it everything by themselves, and then they're with their mates from like high school.
Yeah, true.
We had attendance because of our tutorials. So in an education system, there are lectures and then there are tutorials specifically for my subject. So lectures, everyone attend. You can miss that because you get that on like online, and tutorials you have to be because it's just 25 students or 10 students per class. So if you're not there, you will miss your tests. You will miss the other training that or exercises that you
I
get.
think it's like course to course, as mentioned earlier. When it's management and business related, so where anyone can do it, like you from cybersecurity, from architecture today can end up doing this. But me to get into cybersecurity or architecture, I would have to like crack my brains unless I'm really like interested into it. So I think it's a course related thing. I also had one more thing to add on, or even ask you guys, to be honest. This was my experience as a student, not doesn't matter international or not. Exams out here, okay? So we had exams and we had to sit in a center, like we at Royal Melbourne exhibition, and it was huge, 2,000 students together. That was really cool, really like Harry Potter vibes, Hogwarts vibes. Loved it. But aside from that, these exams were practical exams. Now, that is great that they're practical. But the problem what lies here is because they're practical, the answer is subjective to each professor's needs. Now, how the hell do I as a student, which affects my grade personally, like how even be it assignments or anything, all the questions are practical. I don't know, maybe it's the system, maybe it makes sense, maybe I didn't get it, hang of it, maybe it's a me problem. But I faced it that all these questions, everything was asked. They were practical knowledge, but we was made to study for like 6 weeks, and you're supposed to remember, and they're open books and everything, which made no sense. Eventually, you have to think what the professor will like, not what you think is right as a student. I feel I wasn't developing as a person myself. I was trying to develop according to what the professor likes, so I can get graded. And that is such a tricky thing. And you don't get grades if you don't do well. Did y'all have such experiences?
No. In the US, I think it's very similar. You do have to go, but the education system is a bit more involved. So you chat with your professor, you get to know them, and if you make the effort, you'll understand. Yeah. So I wouldn't say it's as hard. In Australia, breaking the ice with a professor is like hard, and they're also very rigid. But in the US, it's a bit different. But yeah, you do the same online exams, in person, or according to your professor. But I will say when you're studying, like you give the SAT or something like that according to the exam, right? Yeah. It's like a math question, solve it, one answer. Yeah. An English answer in the SAT will be a clear one, but if you're giving like an exam to your professor or your middle school, high school teacher, you do it according to the teacher. But that is something, navigating through teachers is something we've done since middle school. Like we've done it for so long. By the time you're in college, you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I know how to crack the ice. And the way that they teach is the same how they teach in high school. There's paper handouts, there's activities, there's chill profs, there's not chill profs.
I'd say your education, even though I studied in like an English medium, a Catholic Christian school, but my education was Indianized in a way, like how the pattern is. Your education was Western in a way, and Australia is Western. So it was pretty similar, but I feel there are so many Asians. I'm speaking for Asians as a matter of fact, not just Indians, Asians as a whole. So many of them come here, and it's massively different. Yeah. It is so massively, at least in Melbourne Business School, okay, that I felt is, or I don't know, maybe others. I'm speaking with my personal experience, that it was so different. I didn't learn, I learned zero in my 2 years of masters, which I spent 100,000. One, probably my mistake for the course that I would have chosen. But even if I'm doing similar subjects, I feel that master's level should be higher than my undergrad.
Maybe then that means like your home country has better education.
We don't say that.
No, I'm just saying in terms of like what they're teaching, like they might be teaching you at a higher level so that you're ready enough to go and start your own thing, or you become employable as soon as you complete your bachelor's. But what people do back in other countries, they prefer masters. Over here, people have to do masters if they want to be, specialized into something.
Probably.
Most of us do masters for the title of masters. So that's the difference.
I'll be very honest. I did a master's 1A. Like, my dad wanted me to, come to Australia too. I know a lot of students. I'm being very honest. As I said, it's Australia Unfiltered. A lot of students spend 100,000. It's a lot of money as a ticket to come to Australia. That is such an expensive ticket. And I feel, I don't know, it is worth it. Like, I love my life here. True. But guys, if you really just want to stay in Australia, go to a cheaper university.
Yeah.
You can get the same education, but you can do it for cheaper and also stay in this country. If your goal is just to stay in this country, do not go to the best I don't know, whatever your goal is. Personally, this is my personal saying. If someone wants to ask me, personally, that's my opinion. Everyone can have their own opinions.
I have very different opinion than yours for sure. If you are looking for a course, again, please search your course, search the teachers, and then choose the university. So if you're getting the best course, best teacher in some other university, then the top 8, go for that. If you really want those facilities that you have been that you have seen on the advertisements and the teachers and the course, go for the top 8 universities. But if you're coming to stay back in the country, whichever university you choose, if there are pathways, you will stay back in the country.
Yeah, true.
That is true. Yeah. I think it's hard for me to say because, going back to the US would be great. Like, it would be great. But, I think it depends on what you want to do too. You know? And
for sure.
there are privileges of being in Australia.
100%. I love my life. Like, we've been here for 6 years nearly. Kush and I, both of us have been here for 6 years. There are pros and cons any place you be. And to be honest, I spoke to someone as well that if you don't bitch about the place that you work or the place that you stay, you don't truly love it. So
yeah, I know, that's true. That means you know enough about it.
Exactly.
About it.
Yeah.
But you know what? I do want to say, everything I've at least my friends back in Adelaide, first thing we spoke about was when you come to Australia, you don't learn your courses or stuff. You first learn how to study here.
Yes.
It's so different. Even compared to the US, the system is so different. You first have to learn how to navigate it. I don't know about you guys, but in Australia, 50% of students fail a course. I failed a course. My partners failed a course. A lot of people I know have failed a course. It's maybe not international students as much because you have pressure and this is the only thing that you do. But people who do part-time studying, people who, they're not here to meet a minimum grade requirement. They're here to just pass. Yes, failed courses happen. Yeah. And it's a normal thing. Not everybody loves what they do all the time. Yeah. But yeah, I think you should know how to study to then navigate.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
This is what you should focus on because people focus on lectures and remembering everything. But in Australia, they're not going to test you like that.
Yeah, true. It's you need to learn how to study. If you learn that, everything becomes so much easier. Yeah. That's a great point. Anyway, guys, lovely insights. Is there any other insights or student experience you want to share?
If you're coming to study.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, that is so true.
Don't get distracted.
Yes.
It's not about your job. It's not important. Under the desk, more than 25 hours. No. Do it 100%. If you absolutely need it, but you have to, you can't afford to waste all that effort and money.
100%. That's a very good point. I know a lot of students, they forget that they've come to study because the money that you get here is amazing. And that when you work casual and part-time, and once that starts coming in, you're like, oh wow, I have so much money. I want more money. Yeah. But remember the goal that you've come here for, study. You've come here to study, work 100%. It's so important to work. You learn so much. I never worked in retail. As a student, I worked in retail. Oh my God, loved it.
Think about the long-term benefits. And less effort and more money that was going to come later.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a cycle. I know money is very important, but you've come here to study. You're spending so much money on your education.
Yes.
So do study.
And put all that effort that you might be thinking of putting in other things like driving Uber or something. Try to find jobs within, make connections within your own university.
Yeah.
Use that time to actually make connections. so that you get a very good job after you finish your university. Or if not a very good job, at least in your field.
Or have connections who can like recommend you.
Yeah.
Be like, I know this
100%,
person. Yeah.
100%. And like on that, I'll share like one of my incidences. But when I was in uni, as I said, I'd, done everything. So out of some random reason, 1 year before graduating, I started finding full-time jobs. I don't know why. I was like, I want a job, I want a job, I want a job, I want to get a job before I graduate. I don't know. I put this pressure on myself as an international student. But because of that, I ended up making so many connections, and I used to work for people in field, left, right, and center, even if it was for free, because I wanted to. It is good to have local experience, and it is nice, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I kept on doing that, and this one person, I used to advise him on his marketing, and when just before graduation, like I just finished my exams, but I'm not graduated yet. So I put on LinkedIn that I'm open for jobs. He reposted it. The first company that I worked for, someone in that company saw that post and they're like, oh, we actually need someone with these skills. They didn't have that job, but they were like, we need someone with these skills in our company. So then that's how I became a part of it. And it was just random. It's just because I networked and I did it. And to be honest, I did not work in retail when I was a student. I started working in retail when I graduated because there's December and Christmas and I was like, fine, let's get some money, my jobs. And I had a job before I graduated, like before my graduation day or whatever it was. I finished in December. I started in Jan just because I did this. It's not easy though.
It's hard.
It's super hard.
But I do want to go back or end on my original point of Australians are very diverse and open-minded because like Australian labor laws are insane. In the US, people will pay you $7 an hour for a job. People will pay you $12 an hour for the same job in Australia that's paying me like 45 on the weekends because penalty after 7 p.m., like weekend rates.
They value labor.
They do. But I do want to say at that same time, like you can get carried away with it because it's more money. And when I started, my IT job was paying me like half what I would get from my part-time. It was so crazy, but Australians are very open. And I've noticed like in the US, it's very much like, oh, we don't have the space for that. Or like, oh, we can take you as an unpaid intern. But because Australia does make an effort for that appreciating labor, when you're an intern, I've heard so many people and stories about we'll make space for you. It's like, I'll ask somebody, I'll share this, I'll have my network. Because everybody has a network. You have to have a network to work. You have to have a network to be in Australia. And you probably do if you're in Australia. So everyone just puts in that collective effort, which makes it a diverse, open space.
For sure. Also, another thing I would like to add to students. I don't know. I just thought of it. When you're a student, be a student. I'm going to say travel because I have realized when I started working full time, as you think that, oh, I'm going to have the money later on to like but you don't have the time or leaves.
Yeah, you don't have leaves.
You don't have leaves. You don't have time. You also like, there's so many things you have to do, save up on money, more responsibilities come. Travel, go out, go party, go chill with friends. Do these things while you're in uni because that's when I'm not saying you can't do after uni, but there is a time limit, and how free and carefree you are as a student, you won't be able to do it. I'm not saying just keep on spending money as a spendthrift,
obviously,
but have those moments of enjoyment. Don't wait for yourself to graduate. Be a student.
Be a student, study,
party.
Study hard, party hard.
Yeah.
Study hard, party harder.
Yes.
So
that you can study hard again.
Okay, anyway, let's get back to our rapid fire round. So this is like a little tricky. So I'm going to start with Nikita first and then I'll go with you, Kush.
Okay.
Quick. Okay, we got this. Really quick.
Super quick.
Okay. Nikita, what's your favorite city?
Oh, Melbourne.
Oh, my turn. Favorite cafe?
Oh, Quimper Cafe.
What's your coffee order?
Cappuccino.
Which celebrity annoys you the most?
Khushi Kapoor.
Why?
I don't know. I just see her so much on my feed and she's not doing anything. It's just videos of her. I'm like, okay, I need something more.
Yeah. Which dating app is the best for students?
Oh, I would say Bumble because guys have to reach out first. So Yeah.
Remember, guys?
No, girls have to reach out.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Girls have to reach out
go.
first, and only if they respond, then
boy.
guys can talk about
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, true. It's a nice way, you know if you want to, or you just match for the sake of it. It's a good one. Would you recommend studying in Australia to others?
I would. Yes.
You would? Okay. Thank you, Nikita. That was a quick one. Nothing controversial, but good. With you, Kush. Favorite city?
Melbourne.
Favorite cafe?
Brunetti's.
Oh,
Coffee
well
order.
done.
This is really nice.
Brunetti's is good,
Yeah,
guys.
it's amazing.
It has amazing ambience. I like the ambience.
What I'm
Yeah. Okay. What's your coffee order?
Mocha or hot chocolate?
Which syllable annoys you the most?
Raki Sawant.
Oh my god! She's my favorite. But okay, whatever. Which dating app is the best?
I don't know. LinkedIn?
Yes.
It is the freaking best.
Connect.
True, you can find a person with money out there.
Uh-huh.
That's what you need in
path.
I've never been
you
on
know
any
they're
apps
studying.
than LinkedIn, so LinkedIn it is.
No, I agree. Great answer, Kush. Would you recommend studying in Australia to others?
If you want to just study, yes. If you're just
Why
coming,
are your answers?
Why are you not being diplomatic?
Yeah.
no.
Fine.
Good one. Fine. Thank you so much, Nikita and Kush. It was lovely, and thank you so much for sharing your insights and experiences. It was truly candid and truly unfiltered.
Thank you, Sara, for having us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And please have some cookies, guys.
Thank you. I did. I tried the orange one. It was really nice.
What about...
What's this?
Oh, you can try this one. This one's really nice. We tried it. It's chocolate chunk and walnut. Oh. We take away the cookies from him because he doesn't know how to eat them. But yeah, this one's for you. Have. Oh, ASMR. Have a bite. And tell us what do you think. These are Anchor cookies and they're lovely.
I like my orange one.
I love orange and chocolate. Tastes so good together.
Yeah. And a cookie too.
Yeah. I feel these are more like brookies.
Yeah.
They're so soft.
Yeah,
and
they're
nice.
big, gooey, and only crispy on the outside. Very much like a brownie.